Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. Tune in for a vibrant mix of fashion, finance, and life's essential foundations. Join us for expert interviews, insightful discussions, and empowering insights to elevate your lifestyle. From fashion trends to financial tips and personal growth strategies, we've got you covered. So grab your headphones and get ready to be inspired. Tune in now to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show and embark on this exciting journey with us.
Welcome back, everyone, here at the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Talk Show, and we are here with Heather Medina. Heather, from our last segment, we were talking about how you were able to handle dealing with the men in the industry. And what I wanted to ask you this time is, in terms of taking the architecture as a career. So can you tell us what your journey is in terms of getting that in educational and how you got into the career successfully?
Certainly. So I was not the best student in high school. I didn't get the best grades. I always knew that there was something more inside of me and that I would get there. I just needed to grow up and kind of travel on my own path and get some stuff out of my system. So I went backpacking through Europe and skydiving and all this stuff after high school. But then once I decided to settle down, I started off in a community college because it just made much more sense to get all the general education done in a community college. Then I got great grades. I was always 4.0 student on the dean's list, and I applied for Cal Poly Pomona. That was the only architecture school I applied for. And it's an impacted program, so the year that I got in was 2003. There was 1,400 people who had applied, and they had taken 70 of us. So once you got in, you felt like you had won the lottery ticket. And the pathway forward to becoming an architect, it's pretty much going to be almost the same. It just depends upon what type of school you go to, if it's accredited or not accredited. And if it is accredited, then you get to count that education as part of your time. It's a 5-year degree. It's not a 4-year degree.
Okay.
And if it's not accredited, then you just have to spend more time doing internship hours to get to that point. So after you graduate, you have to work for, it's something like the equivalent of 3 years. You have to earn what they call intern hours. Even though you're not really an intern anymore, you're actually working for a firm. You're taking on all these roles, but they want to make sure that if you, like doctors, lawyers, architects, when we're getting licensed, you have the health, safety, welfare of the public that you have to keep at the forefront of your profession and your everyday life and how you treat what you do. So you have to get about the equivalent of 3 years in, working in all the different areas of a project. You might be in pre-design, you might be in schematic design, you might be going through bidding and negotiation or taking things through plan check so they want you to have a breadth of experience.
Okay.
So you have to get all of these hours in. And then beyond that, you have to take the AREs, which is the Architectural Registration Exam. And there's 6 national exams that no matter where you're at in the country, you have to take these 6 exams. 6 exams. And then
compared to real estate, I only had to take one test.
Well, and then some states, California is one of them, we have a supplemental exam also because California has some special issues that we have to look at. We have seismic, we have a whole variety of different environments that would make it to where we would have to treat a building differently in one location versus another location. So in total, it was 7 exams total, I can tell you that.
So in total, how many years are we talking about?
It takes people usually about 3 years to get through those exams, plus 5 years of your education. So to get from point A to licensed architect, it's usually about an 11-year commitment, no matter which way you slice
11 years?
About an 11-year commitment.
Okay. Now, knowing that, is that something that you think it was really worthwhile, spending 11 years?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, when I got through my exams, I just hunkered down and got focused. And I treated it as if it were there's exams on professional practice, there's exams on project management, there's exams on construction and evaluation, and then there's exams that kind of take you through what you would go through if you were going through a project from start to finish. So like the pre-design phase, the programming phase, the analysis, site analysis, then going into design development where we're now integrating the structural system, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, making sure we don't have structural beams running into ductwork, and how we it's like playing Tetris. It's, you know, if you grew up playing Tetris, you could be an architect easily. And it's kind of like solving a puzzle, which is fun to me. It's very
Does it
relaxing.
attract certain personality of a person to be an architect?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You know, I'm also somebody, I have diagnosed ADHD too. Okay. So for me to be able to function in the way an architect has a function, we have to be incredibly organized and very systematic, because the architect is kind of like from the design team. There's always the design team, the owner, and the contractors team. There's those three players in all situations. So from the design team, the architect is kind of at the top of the tier, coordinating all the different engineers and all the different service providers, like the structural engineer, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, Title 24. We might be coordinating with civil, landscape.
That's a lot of
geotechnical
people to be dealing with.
Yeah, but everybody has their own role that they play in it, because it can't just be one person that would know everything. We would never get anything accomplished. So yeah, you have to have these systems in place, and I think people with that type of mentality who can look at chaos and then pull it together, and it's like herding cats. Yeah. It's like glorified herding cats is what it is. So if you can do that, you could be an excellent architect.
Wow. I mean, you know, I am, you know, just with all the information you're saying, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a lot but I think it boils down to your desire of being an architect, and also, you know, helping people build and design buildings. I mean, it is such a different kind of mindset.
Yeah, it absolutely. Well, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You know, it's being able to take the big picture and break it down into smaller, manageable chunks, and that's how you move projects forward. And it's just really that simple. And everybody has their role to play. And there's many more consultants that we might have to have on any given project, just depending upon where the project is, the complexity of the project, and what the project actually is.
Yeah. So what is the biggest project you have done?
The biggest project I've ever worked on, early in my career, I did a performing arts center for, actually, I think it was Grossmont High School, not too far from here. Was it Grossmont? I don't remember. That was a bigger one. I did a library for an elementary school. Just recently, I worked on 2 affordable housing projects. They were both 100% affordable. Both were in City Heights. One is called City Heights Plaza del Sol, and the other one is called City Heights Place.
Now, how long does it take to finish some of these projects that you're mentioning?
It could be years. Like, easily, the 2 apartment projects, from start to finish, those were about a 3.5-4 year project. But previously, one of them had to go through entitlements and get permission from the planning department. So that was another couple years on top of that. So it just really depends upon the size of the project, and really it depends upon who all you have to get approval from before you move this project forward.
So how long have you been doing this career?
21 years.
21 years.
Yeah.
And what is your average per year in terms of projects? Because I'm just trying to figure out how busy you are.
Right now we are really busy, and we are getting a lot busier, and that's a good thing, especially in residential. And that's really, residential is where my passion is. Even though I had done schools and institutional work for a long time at the beginning of my career, residential was definitely my passion. Like, I love mixed use buildings where you create these like urban centers where you might have like retail and workspace on the ground floor, and then you have residential up above that. So
how many clients do you work with all at the same time?
Oh gosh, right now, man, I wish I would have done the count before I come here, but I think I have like 13 or 14 different projects going on.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not just me, like I have staff.
You are a mom too, right?
I'm a mom, yeah.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2.
You have 2, and how old are they?
They are 10 and 11, and I did that on purpose. I had them back to back because I didn't want to start over with all the hard stuff. I wanted to get done with the diapers, the bottles, the strollers, the everything, and You're
like
done.
a superwoman.
Well, at the beginning, like, it was really hard because my kids were toddlers, they were babies, and this is where I had gotten laid off in 2012. This was when architecture was plummeting, when the construction industry were at like the very end of the recession. We're all coming out of it, and architecture had a 14% unemployment rate at this time. So I actually had gone back to like bartending and waiting tables just to have some form of income at this time. Wow. And I had both of my kids, and I wanted to get back into it, so I started flipping houses, and I would do my own plans and permit them and get them through the city. And then people would ask me, well, who did your plans for you? And I'm like, well, I did them. Like, my background is in architecture, and it made me sound cool. It made me sound like, oh, she does her own stunts or something like that. Yeah. But so then it just started growing organically, and people would ask me, hey, I'm going to do this remodel. Hey, I'm going to do this. Can you help me with my plans? And so then that just kind of turned into a business. And then I went and started doing bigger things. Once my kids got bigger, I started, really focusing in on, starting up the business and launching it and branding myself and putting myself out there and networking and reestablishing myself. But yeah, one of the first houses I flipped was a druggie hoarder house. And the day one on the property, I was like 8 months pregnant, belly out to here, climbing over piles of trash. And then I went into labor a couple days later, gave birth, and then I'm back out on the job site like a week later with a baby.
Well, you're amazing. I mean, I'm more impressed than...
Well, no, but now
I'm
it's
already
here.
impressed from, what I know about you. But after hearing all of these stories, I mean, you're incredible, Heather.
Thank you.
It's just amazing. With all the lows and ups of your life, you still was able to come up with a strategy. But we're going to take a commercial break right now. Don't go away, you guys. This is so awesome with Heather Medina here at the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. We will be right back.
Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.